Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with the Contoured Chemist. Today I'm going to take you back in time a little bit. I'm going to show you how I used to apply my 3D foundation, and then I'm going to show you how I apply it now. And I'm going to kind of talk you through some troubleshooting tips and simple tips and tricks that'll help you improve your application and your overall look you can get with Seint, and what I've learned along the way in my past 4 years of being an artist. So hopefully it'll help. If you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get right on into it. 3D foundation. I feel like everyone, for the most part, loves 3D foundation for one, like they see how easy and fast it can be, but then two, the overall look is just unlike any other makeup out there. The glow, the way you can look 10 years younger, I know that was, both of those things were kind of my first appeal to the brand. And then of course the minimization and having everything for your face in one compact. I mean, you can't get any better than that, right? So I'm always asked though, how or why you might not be getting the same look at what you see from other artists per se. So I want to show you guys, first I want to show you guys my first before and after. And I want to take you through step by step how I applied it when I first started with this makeup, how I apply it now, and why you can tweak certain things to get a better look. You might, I'm just going to preface this by saying you might apply this for the very first time and it be flawless. I'm not going to say that that's not possible, but I'm saying be careful of comparing yourself to artists who have been doing this for a very long time. I feel like there is a learning curve, and I'm still learning after almost 4 years of being an artist that I can still improve the way I apply, and I feel like I still love it more and more every time I apply it. So that being said, there are a few things that I feel like are helpful to know in order for you to get the best application from the get-go. So if you're brand new and you haven't tried it yet, knowing some of these things beforehand are gonna help you kind of not deal with or not have to troubleshoot some of the things that I'm gonna show you on my, I'll call it original side. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna drop some truth bombs real quick because you guys know I would never lie to you guys. So I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, no matter the makeup or how good the makeup is, skin will always be your canvas. And if you take care of your skin first, I promise you, your makeup will look a million times better than trying to cover up things with makeup. I learned that the hard way. Before I started wearing this makeup, I truly don't think I really ever paid attention to my skin. I didn't have a skincare routine at all. And this makeup is truly what made me start looking at my skin because I could notice things about it. So if you are new to 3D foundation, you might not realize that, because I get this question so many times if people are like, well, what about this and this? You guys, your skin changes day to day. And sometimes you don't realize that because you're used to a traditional foundation that looks the same no matter what your skin looks like underneath, because it just dries down matte, it sets, it looks the same. But cream foundation lets your skin really show, and it can look like skin when applied in a certain way. And so you might notice different things about your skin that you might never have noticed before. And it's truly because your skin changes every single day. So this is why I love skincare now. I feel like this helped start me on the path to actually taking care of my skin for the first time. And so you'll notice, I'll drop a picture of literally what I looked like right before I became an artist. I didn't take care of my skin at all. I didn't even wash my face at night. I know it's horrible. I've learned a lot. Okay, let's just say that. I've learned a lot. And one of the first things I've learned is skin care first. Start taking care of your skin, and I promise you, you're gonna love the way your makeup applies 10 times better. And you're also gonna be able to really pay attention by seeing how your makeup applies one day versus the day before. You'll be like, well, why did my makeup go on so much better a couple days ago than it is today? And guess what? That's just your skin telling you it's time to exfoliate. No joke, like exfoliation is key. You know, shave off the peach fuzz so the makeup doesn't sit on top of the hairs and it doesn't trap bacteria on your face. My skin is 100 times better. 1, because of this makeup, it will improve your skin over time. And 2, because now I know how to pay attention to my skin, and it all stemmed from me just wanting my makeup to look that much better, and had the nice side effect of aging a little bit backwards, right? Because you can tell from my before picture, I look 10 years older. And I definitely attribute it to the makeup first, because I immediately looked younger with the makeup. Not using a powder foundation really helped as well. And then I started taking care of my skin. Okay, so that being said, expectations. Makeup is makeup, okay? Makeup will not fill in. I like to say that fill in texture of your face. I feel like marketing nowadays with makeup, it's just so deceiving because it's not all true. The way they're like, oh, filling in your pores and smoothing all your lines and wrinkles. Makeup truly doesn't do that, and it can't, not into this point, right? So expectations. Know that you don't need a magnifying mirror to examine your skin. No one sees you that close. Throw the magnifying mirror away when you're doing your makeup. I promise you. Just use natural light. Change out your light bulbs if you have to daylight bulbs, so that when you get in your car, you're not like, oh my gosh, this is the way my skin looks like in daylight. It makes a huge difference. Bathroom interior lights versus daylight, night and day. Put your makeup on in front of daylight or daylight bulbs if you get ready in the dark. That right there is a game changer. You guys, I know I have a IGTV called The Truth About Pores, because I'm asked so many times about pores. And you guys, everyone has pores. Everyone has pores. Pores is not a bad word, okay? And the natural texture of your skin is beautiful. And I feel like this makeup helped me like realize that when I never realized it before. So if you truly do not want to see any texture, truly the only makeup, you're gonna have to wear a thick matte foundation that truly, I don't want to say plaster, but that's what I think of. That's going to just, I can't even say fill in, because it doesn't. It will still show texture. It's just gonna show makeup texture instead of natural skin texture. And skin minimalism is in, because skin texture is beautiful. Obviously, it's a personal preference thing. I will say with this makeup, you're gonna see skin texture. So if you like that full coverage, matte look, then this makeup isn't for you. So have realistic expectations. I always say that, you know, don't compare your face to a face on Instagram that's been filtered. That's not realistically possible. But also, you know what? Everybody has skin texture. If you really truly look at somebody that close, most people aren't showing you that close, right? So don't examine your skin under a magnifying mirror and be harsh to yourself, okay? I will say some things that really make a huge difference and what has helped me get a much better look. Skincare first, okay? Application method and color choices. So I'm often argued with about the fact that our creams will wear off if it's the wrong color. And I promise you, you guys, I'm a chemist. I've looked at the formulation. People have said no, that they have to have different formula. They don't have different formulations. You can check out the ingredients on the website. The formulations are the same. And I know that traditional foundation, you can literally slap any color on your face and it's gonna wear the same. This makeup is not that way. And I truly promise you, I've learned that by troubleshooting with clients for 4 years, using it on myself for 4 years. And I'm gonna show you the original colors I wore and I wasn't getting longevity. And it's all a matter of color when it comes to this makeup. It's the same thing goes with like texture and pores. If it is exaggerated, not like normal skin texture, but suddenly you're seeing it sitting inside of your pores and it's making your pores look 10 times worse like than they ever were, that's a color issue. You don't have that with traditional makeup. It doesn't do that. But these creams are very, very different than traditional makeup, which is why we have artists to help you, because trying to find your own colors, they don't look anything like the 10. They don't look anything like the pictures online. So trust your artists. They're experienced. Find somebody that's experienced, because I truly, I'll be honest, when I first started as an artist, these aren't things I even understood. It is literally through experience that I've figured out all this and that I can teach you guys this now. But it's not necessarily something that you're gonna know right off the bat. So let's go in. I'm gonna specifically talk about when to know it's a color issue and when it's just an application issue as well. All right, so let's go ahead. One thing I will say is, I have learned as well, is a primer is not necessary. When I first started wearing this makeup, I would literally prime my face with a pore filling primer, which now I realize they do no good unless you're going makeup free. Then they blur the look of primers. Otherwise, with this makeup, they'll give you longevity issues, because all pore filling primers that I've ever read the ingredients on, all are silicone based. Silicones and our makeup, it can't adhere properly, so they slip and slide, and then suddenly you look like you're not wearing any makeup, and that's called longevity issues, right? So, no primer. I say try the makeup with no primer whatsoever, unless you are oily. That's it. Okay, so I'm first gonna show you guys how I used to apply. I'm gonna go on this side. Because in my before picture, I had this spot. So it was in my first before and after as an artist, it was this side, because I remember I could see that. Okay, when I first started, I used these two brushes, okay? I used what was back then when it was Mascara Beauty. It was the 30-second hack and the detail hack, okay? And when I first started, I was new to contouring with a cream. So what I did was I would use the small end of the contour brush, and that way I could feel where my cheekbone is, and I could just kind of draw a line. And there is nothing wrong with this method. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm just saying my application methods have changed as I've learned better ways for the coverage and the look I want with this makeup, okay? All right, so when I first started, I wore olive, and I would swipe in, and I'd get it on this brush, okay? And then I would pretty much just kind of go along underneath that cheekbone area. I don't think I really I just kind of got it in that general vicinity underneath the cheekbone, right? Okay. I do the same thing using the same brush. Let's see if I can do half my forehead. And I just swipe it on. Now you see a lot of artists doing this, and I get it. It shows the simplicity of this makeup, how easy it truly is to just kind of put all the colors where needed, and then we go from there. Super simple, okay? So this is olive contour, and I'm kind of going in this 3 formation, and this is how I used to teach at my contour classes, was just kind of, okay, draw 3, there you go, you just contoured, you're good to go. So then I would use the 30-second hack, and I would use the pointed in, which was originally designed for highlight, and I would use amber, okay, which matched my neck, okay? So I would swipe in with amber, okay, and I'd kind of swipe on the color where needed. So pretty much everywhere that I didn't contour, right? Okay, and you'll see, it's totally gives great coverage. Okay, covers my redness. Okay, and then I'd kind of, you know, swipe this and I'd start blending. Oh my gosh, I haven't worn amber in so long, I forgot what it looks like. Okay, and so it was great. I could show amazing coverage, right off the bat. Okay, and then I would flip this end over and I would blend out my contour. Because this end is so easy to blend, okay? And kind of blend upwards like that. Okay. Then I would go back in and I would use, well, I think I would usually use, would I use this small end? Gosh, guys, it's been a while. Let's just use this brush. Okay, then we can brighten, and I would use Aura, which if you guys don't know is still my brightener color. Ooh, I probably used to swipe. Can't do that now, just, okay, and I would just kind of brighten this entire triangle. Okay, and I would just do a triangle. I don't think I ever brightened any more than that. Okay, so there we go. I could probably blend, oh gosh, a little bit better. And I'll be honest, I didn't wear this much contour, guys. You see my first picture. I was scared of contour, okay? You can't even see the contour in my first picture, but for demonstration's sake, there we go. And then let's see, my ride or die was always nude, and I would use this brush, and I would just put it on the apples of my cheeks, right there. Okay, there you go. Really super simple, really super fast, okay? So if you were to get up real close, okay, not great coverage here. Around my eyes, you can totally you can still definitely see some stuff. I wouldn't perfect at all. I never would use the Perfector. So I also can feel it on my face because I applied a lot. Okay, I swiped it on. Yes, I have good coverage. Yes, it's not pulling my freckles gray, anything like that. Okay, I look like I'm matching my neck more or less, right? Thought I had the right colors, okay? It's not pulling textured. I mean, it is a little bit around my nose, as you can see. That's because I have broken capillaries there and they're pretty dark. So yeah, anywhere I'm darker, it's gonna pull a little bit more textured, okay? Doesn't give great coverage on blemishes or hyperpigmentation, but it's not bad. It doesn't look horrible, right? Okay, so my contour is a little warm. It kind of looks like a bronzer. I was used to contouring with a bronzer before I started wearing this makeup. So to me, I was like, it looks fine, right? In natural light, I feel like it looks pretty warm. I used to also match by swatching people. I would dip in with the color and I would swatch it on their cheek and kind of blend it in. Okay. And I still have customers that will send me swatches, and I'm just gonna tell you, it swatches mean nothing with this makeup. Okay. And it's because they're too pigmented. Okay. Now, I used to look for texture. I used to swatch and look for texture, because if you have a shade too light, you'll immediately, it won't really blend out. It'll be sitting in their pores. And I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And it was kind of a way you could quickly, swatch along the jawline, be like, does that match, kind of thing, right? So that's kind of how we originally learned to color matches. We would kind of swatch a few colors and try to blend them out and see what looks best. Okay. So if you guys have watched me at all, not all of our faces are the same color all the way around, right? If your neck is lighter, it doesn't matter what color your jawline is, okay? In order to keep it matching, we've got to make sure we have a color that's going to blend, but also that's going to cover, okay? So my biggest issue with wearing this side is that it's going to wear off after a few hours. And even though it looks awesome right now, I have a lot of customers who say, but it swatches fine and it looks fine on the skin. It's not giving texture or pores, but it's just wearing off. And that, my friends, is a color issue, okay? So even if it's not pulling yellow or orange or anything like that, in fact, a lot of times if I am helping you fix your issue and you don't tell me what colors you're wearing, if you tell me the colors you're currently using and the issues you're having, I can tell you right off the bat what it is. So a lot of times I'll get, say, for example, this spot, okay? And you're telling me that it's, you're building up coverage. You're building up coverage using something like amber, but then it's starting to pull, yellow, or it's starting to look cakey, okay? Texture, as you build up color, okay? And you know what that tells me is that, okay, well, that's because you're trying to apply too much of a shade too light or with the wrong undertones for whatever you're trying to cover. So it's just like trying to cover a blemish with a lighter shade. Immediately shows texture, because in order to cover something like a blemish or redness or hyperpigmentation, you have to find a color that matches the darkness of that spot, that also has the undertones that will cover it and correct it. Not just a darker color necessarily. Only certain colors within our line will actually correct certain things. So a lot of times people, have a darker shade and they keep applying it, but it's not giving coverage. It's because it's not necessarily a color that will correct. Only certain undertones will, say, knock out this redness, okay? So amber is one that is good for redness, okay? It actually is great for hyperpigmentation and dark circles. And you'll see it doesn't do too bad. It just doesn't give me the same coverage that wearing a darker shade that will match this darkness and redness. And then I can kind of layer the proper way and bring it back to matching. So this is why a lot of times one highlight shade will not work for every person. You might have a very even skin tone without issues, and you can knock out just one color and a brightener and you'll be good to go. But when I am color matching somebody, I'm looking for the perfect combinations of shades that's going to customize your face for the perfect match. It's not necessarily just like, okay, mix these two together or something like that. I never recommend mixing on the skin. That changes the color. So like if I was, say, my normal color is mango and sandy, if I was to dip into mango and sandy and mix it on the skin, that's gonna do nothing. It's actually gonna just make me not match, and it's not going to correct because I haven't put down that corrector first to actually correct what it's supposed to be. By mixing them, you're changing the undertones of the color. And because these shades are so pigmented, they don't look like the colors in the 10. Don't be scared of those. They don't look like the colors online. We use so very little. When I'm layering, I'm like over here, like this is gonna drive me nuts. Like I can feel, like this might look warm because of my warm contour, but you guys, it's also because my redness is peeking through. Like I'm red today because I just exfoliated, and my skin just kind of gets hot to the touch when I am doing skincare stuff like that. And that's just the nature of my skin. So I can feel the redness popping through, and within a couple of hours, guess what? This color is gonna start breaking up on the skin. It's gonna almost look like it's cracking. It might already be a little bit. It's not going to have that same finish of skin. And I never use this to kind of press it into the skin, keep it looking like skin, and to remove any excess. So when I first started wearing this makeup, I always felt tacky. And I was like, all right, I'll just use some setting spray and put on some powder. When in fact, it was my application method. It was a brush because I was, using a brush that picked up a lot of product. I was swiping into the creams, and I wasn't removing excess because this is the only way to get excess off of the skin if you do apply too much. And I'll be honest, you guys, I don't know if I mean, it's like 99% of people start with too much product. There's just nothing else on the market that's this pigmented, and people aren't used to using creams. And I've tried other cream makeup before, and these work completely differently. So that's why I say there's a learning curve. You have to kind of try it and adjust. And figuring out the proper amount to apply first is probably the biggest part of the learning curve with the application. I do. Okay. Go ahead and do this side. So now I use a color corrector, and I always recommend the blush and bronzer brush. And it's because there's a big difference in the denseness of these brushes. And you'll see I used this side, which now I don't recommend ever. I don't recommend swiping. It's streaks. It doesn't lay the product down evenly. I am a big fan of buffing, okay, and pouncing and stippling, which is why you hear me talk about that. I do feel like it is the best way to get a thin layer. With this makeup, thick layers are not our friends, okay? You can use this Perfector all day on this side, but it's never gonna look as, it's never gonna lay the same as this side will with the right application, okay? So, touch your creams, pounce in. Less is more. You can always build up, but it's harder to remove. Okay, so I'm just going, look at that. Does that look like much? I barely touched it, right? I barely touched it, and I'm just going to buff it on ever so slightly, only where I need it. Okay, I'm going to put on a little bit more of my nose because my nose is naturally darker. And this is why I tell you how important it is to pay attention to your face. Now, when I first started, I never looked at my face closely enough to realize I had a difference of tones, but that's why, as your artist, I can mark up your face and show you exactly where you're darker, okay? So now I use my finger. I used to a lot of times use this brush around my eyes. I just kind of slapped it on, and I didn't get very good coverage. Like, it doesn't look bad, but I don't have the same coverage that I like now. So I'm gonna get rid of these purple tones in here. And I'm gonna use my finger so that I can just use the smallest amount possible. This is the bad eye too. Does everybody have a bad eye? This is my bad eye. This is the one that's harder to cover. I've got this weird shadow here. Okay, so that's mango. Okay, so that texture you can still see here. It's because I have broken capillaries, which broken capillaries are dark, right? They're red, purple, and they're dark, and you gotta correct those, and you can't apply a lighter color over them, or what happens when we apply too light of a shade with this makeup? Immediate texture. So now that I've kind of matched my darkest tones over here, now I can bring it back to matching. Okay, and I do use a darker shade now. If you don't know, it's amber, sandy, mango in the sequence of lightest to darkest. Now, amber and mango are both those warm undertone shades which color correct redness really well. Sandy does not. Sandy is neutral. It does not color correct my redness. Again, it gives me longevity issues. But by using a little bit of mango, I kind of keep that warmth in my face while giving me better longevity and giving me better coverage. But if I wear just mango by itself, I'm way too dark. So kind of get the best of both worlds, right? So now I'm gonna use, sorry, I didn't show you. Same thing, I just kind of barely tapped. Now I'm going to press on my sandy, okay? All over, very lightly. And you can tell the difference. Okay, look how yellow this side looks, okay? With our makeup, it's all yellow based. And so when I have a customer that tells me a shade that's not yellow, this is not a very, I mean, they're all a varying degree of yellow, let's just say that. But amber is more warm than yellow. It's not one of our strongly yellow highlight shades. So when somebody tells me it's pulling them yellow, that immediately tells me you're applying too much, because it shouldn't pull yellow. So it tells me it's either the wrong color for them or they're just applying too much. And I get that a lot when like somebody's trying to say cover redness or really dark spots with something like candlelit, which candlelit is, or white peach, something like that, that's like very little yellow because it's neutral or white undertoned. You know, they all have a little bit of yellow. But as you build that color up on itself, of course it's eventually gonna pull yellow, but you don't need that much product. That tells me you're using too much. It's the wrong color, because the right color is gonna correct that first. And then your main shade, it should never pull yellow, right? Does that make sense? So by telling me what it looks like on your skin, that helps me help you troubleshoot. Because I can immediately tell you what your issue is. Whether you need to use your Perfector, maybe you need to switch up your brush and your application technique. If you're swiping, all of those things lead to over application, which, like I said, is like the #1 issue, right? Okay, so now, am I pulled too warm? No. Okay, am I pulled yellow? No. Okay, I've got good coverage. Did I do my nose? I can't remember. So when people are like, wow, my makeup doesn't look like yours. Guys, I've been practicing and using trial and error and discovering new things about this makeup for 4 years. So don't compare your first application to 4 years worth of experimenting with this makeup. This is why I stress trying all the application methods and seeing what works best for you. I'm not gonna say that my application is going to be the best for everyone, okay? You might be able to do this side just like this, just fine, and you love it, okay? Everybody has a very strong personal preference when it comes to their makeup and how they wear it. So I want you to find yours, all right? So I'm just showing you how my method has changed. And, you know, obviously this is more of a color issue. And now I've kind of figured out my right colors. Now, granted, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit here. Sandy was not a shade when I first started, okay? Sandy was not, we just went from amber to mango. We didn't have Sandy. So when Sandy came out, I kind of found my holy grail there. All right, so a lot has changed in the past 4 years. All right, I'm gonna go in and now I'm gonna contour. So now I still use the detail, but I use the large end, and it made night and day difference for me as far as being able to really get a defined contour and get coverage without pulling me too warm. So you guys saw how warm my cheek area is and how warm this side still looks. And I still love olive. Olive is a beautiful color. It's a little bit lighter, so I do have to apply more. And granted, Astoria also was not available when I first started. So when Astoria came out, and I tried this, it's much more cool. So olive is a neutral, meaning it's got some warmth in it, and Astoria has much less warmth, which if you have redness can work a lot better. I also discovered that by applying my highlight first and correcting that area, I now can wear contours. Like if I was to apply olive over here, it would be much less warm on this side because I've already corrected. When I applied it first, it just kind of enhanced that redness. I never corrected it. When you put something warm over something warm, it's just gonna pull more warm, right? So I'm gonna show you, and I kind of discovered how to tap in and get my color on half of the brush so that when I cup that cheekbone, it's going directly under my cheekbone. And then when I start up of my ear, it's gonna kind of deposit that color there first. I made sure I learned not to go too far in from my face because it will get in my smile lines here, not a pretty look. And then I kind of learned just to tap on the product. Going like this, and actually, I probably didn't even show that over here. I used to just kind of go like this, which is why in that picture, I'm not wearing any contour. It looks like I'm not wearing any. It's because these contours blended out so easily, and I was scared of contour. So I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, trust me, contour will come. The more you apply it, the more comfortable you will get putting a stripe on your face and not just blending it all out, okay? And now I prefer my contour very defined. If I'm gonna contour, I want it to look like I've contoured, okay? So kind of pulling that up, getting a nice blend as it goes upwards and as it goes in towards my face, and then learning how to correct if needed. Okay, so you'll see, even using a cool contour after I color corrected, everything still pulls warm slightly on me because I have that redness underneath. Okay, I don't know if you can tell the difference. Trying to make them look as even as possible. Okay, forehead, I have not changed really at all. I've kind of learned that pulling it down the forehead helps, really making sure this blends still up into the the hairline. I'd say my before pictures, I can't see a whole lot of contour on my forehead. I keep saying before pictures. My first before and after, okay. I also don't think I contoured my nose for a very long time. Oh, I haven't done blush yet. Or brightener. All right, so now I like to brighten, and I love the buff brush. Granted, this is also not a brush we had in the beginning. Oh. So we've made a lot of improvements. So now I still use Aura, okay? Now I've kind of learned how to press it on so I'm never pulling at my eye area. I'm always just kind of pressing on color. Okay, and I do normally now brighten the center of my face. So I don't know if I can just do half or not. All right, so the biggest difference. You guys, I learned the power of the Perfector. I will tell you what, when I first started, I thought that this was just an add-on to the product and I didn't want to recommend it. I didn't understand really, like I knew I'd used a beauty blender before. I understood that to apply foundation, but with a cream, the purpose is so different. Yes, you can use it to apply color, but really I didn't understand until I figured out how to prepare this properly. So I feel like I talk about it all the time, but it's still something that so many people don't realize how to do, because I would run it under water and I realized you needed to kind of squeeze it underwater for it to fully expand and for it to not be tiny, okay? It had to grow and double in size. I got that. And then I just squeeze it out, make sure it wasn't dripping. And then I'd go to use it and it would pull off my makeup. And I felt like it wasn't really blending anything. I was like, why do people use this, right? So then I really started trying different stuff. And I was like, okay, once I figured out that if I squeezed it within an inch of its life and really made sure there was no water left, like the difference between damp and like, I don't consider this damp. Like if you felt it right now, you'd be like, are you sure you put that underwater? I did. And then I put it in a very absorbent towel. And I'm telling you guys, I've tested every towel in my house. These flour sack towels are my favorite, which is why I keep them here. And I put it in that towel 3 different times and squeeze it out in different places in the towel. And then I sit it out. And during this whole time, it's been drying down. Okay, so now it doesn't feel damp. It doesn't feel damp at all, okay? So now the difference, when I really pounce this, I'm hoping you guys will be able to really see. When I learned how skin-like this makeup could be to where it doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup, it just looks like I'm naturally glowing and contoured. That's my goal now. And it had to do with this. So this is why I preach this. This is why I always recommend it. Because if you apply too much, so a lot of times I'll have people be like, well, I'm not getting enough of a brightened under eye, and they really want more. You gotta realize that the lighter you go with this makeup, the more it will show texture. If darker like I am, and you apply a straight light shade under your eyes, it'll show immediate texture. You've got to color correct if you have any extra colors there like I do. Like I've got a lot of blue and purple, and I've got a lot of hyperpigmentation. If I was to put, say, linen directly under my eyes, it would, okay. So I was like, okay, let's try like a little bit of a brighter under eye. So I would go in with something like this, okay? Is it gonna brighten? Of course it's gonna brighten. Can you guys see how textured and chalky that looks, even if I blend it out? Like how aged I just got right there. Like it's not pretty, okay? And that was with amber under it. Can you imagine what it would look like straight on my skin? It's not pretty, okay? And the fact that I didn't use this to kind of press it in, okay? So knowing how these highlights work is key when it comes to troubleshooting. Making sure your artists understand what your issue is. Colors are so different. Like you guys, I can wear Aura under my under eyes just fine. But, okay, so here's Aura. Here is White Peach. You guys, they're so similar. Okay, White Peach is just a little less yellow. Okay, if you blend these out, I think I probably applied a little bit more Aura. Okay, they're so similar. A little bit more yellow, a little bit more white. Okay, a lot of people can wear either of these shades. A lot of people, like me, try to wear white peach and it looks like this. It's immediately chalky. And you know what? It all has to do with your undertones. Like if you aren't matched properly to the right undertones, it makes everything sit differently on your skin. That's why it's so important to be properly color matched. Okay, so I was still perfecting because I want it to look like skin. Okay. Can you guys see the difference? How natural this looks. Yes, I'm contoured. I haven't even put blush on yet. Okay. And let me put on the same brush or the same blush. Okay, nude. Okay, we're gonna go outside. Of course, the cheeks go on up. Okay, I feel like it looks like night and day. There you go. This side, that application method. This side. Can you guys tell the difference? Hopefully it's visible on camera. Okay, so besides the fact, I feel like I look older on this side. You know, parts of it are okay. Parts of it are not so okay, okay? And it all has to do with where I'm applying each color and how using literally one more highlight shade can make the biggest difference in coverage and longevity. So don't be scared that it's gonna make it more complicated. If you missed my last video, I did this application method with my eyes closed, okay? It's not that hard. Once you've applied it one time, it gets faster and faster every time you do it, I promise. Okay, real quickly, I'm gonna show you, I forgot about illuminator. I've been wearing the same illuminator. I used to apply it with my fingers, okay? And I feel like it's very easy to get fingerprints or not get it blended out. Now I apply it always and forever with my Perfector so that it blends it at the same time. I get a good, nice, even blend. As you can tell from the picture, obviously, I learned a lot about lashes and I had my brows done. But I also stopped being so scared about filling in my brows darker to match my hair. This is what I used to use, which is shadow contour. And it's not bad, but now I use Trust. I like a bold brow, and I feel like it took a little bit of time to get there, but I feel like it makes a big difference now when I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh yeah, my brows were a little sad. So that made a difference. What else have I done? I've learned the power of layering lip and cheeks because now I'm all about glow. I want my skin to always be glowing. That has a lot to do with application, finishing. So if you want glowy skin, make sure you set your makeup with setting spray last. If you like a matte look, you can still get it. Use a loose powder over everything. I definitely also learned how to set under my eyes, which I'm not gonna set this side because that would look really bad. But using less is more, using our vanilla dust because it's a really finely milled powder, and then just barely touching in order to set the entire under eye area in 2 seconds. That helps. I hope you can see the difference on camera. Here's hoping. So if you're not loving the way it looks, try switching up some stuff. Skin first, okay? Exfoliate every 3 days. 3 days like clockwork. If you don't have a good one, try Cure. I don't know if I've ever had a client tell me they didn't like it. If you use it properly, holy moly, it can be a game changer, okay? Moisturize your skin at night at least, and you should be good, okay? Skip the primer, go in with your makeup, use a buffing motion, don't swipe in, don't swipe on. Really pay attention to the way you're applying and try different methods to see what works best for you, for the coverage you want. Doesn't matter if you want to contour first. If your contour is looking red, going on patchy or dirty, it's the wrong color. Try switching up your contour color, can make a world of difference. Be scared of using multiple highlights to get a custom match. Not everyone can use one highlight shade, and love it. Remember how pigmented these shades are. So don't be scared of the way the colors look online. Trust your artist. Don't try swatching it on your face to see if it matches. Truly, you might have multiple colors in your face like I do, to where if I was to swatch any of those colors on a darker area, it wouldn't work, okay? So using those multiple colors will really customize the makeup just for your and give you the best longevity. If you're still not getting the look you want, try switching up your brushes. I have an entire video on how to use each brush as one brush for your full face. If you have a brush that is just not working right, maybe it's the way you're using it. There are best methods for every brush, so that might help as well. And last but not least, expectations, okay? Yes, this makeup can make your skin look amazing, look like you're wearing a filter, but it's also just makeup. Be willing to learn it. Be willing to try different things until you figure out what works best for you. Don't compare yourself to artists who have been applying it for years, might have perfect skin, or that filter their photos, all right? So I want everyone to love their makeup as much as I do. That is my goal. So if you need a color match, I'd be happy to help you out. There is a drop box below the video, and just click the little arrow and you'll find my color match request. I'd be happy to help you make sure you have your perfect shade. You can avoid any troubleshooting issues. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I love you. Bye.